Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of today's Better Managers Briefing. I'm Anne Franca, the Chief Executive of CMI, and as you just saw in that video, we've been very busy during these past few months trying to marshal resources and deliver innovations that help you all to get through these trying times. So today's special edition of Better Managers Briefing is called You Decide and We'll Deliver. And what we want to do is showcase a number of the innovations that we've been working on over these past months and ask your opinion on how we can help make them better. Now, to participate, you will need to be able to answer our poll. So please look in the chat box for that poll now and click on that link so that you can participate in the questions that we'll be asking you throughout the segments of today's Better Managers Briefing. So without further ado, I would like to kick off the session by inviting Robin Bruce, our head of technology, to showcase our new website and get your views on what you think we should be doing with it next. Robin.
Thanks, Anne. Hello, everyone. I'm Robin, and I'd like to take a moment to take you through our brand new website, which you can find by searching CMI or heading over to managers.org.uk. So this new site is a real departure for us here at CMI because for the first time, it's been built from the ground up with you in mind. Our focus has very much been on user experience, your experience, and we've made it user-centric by really thinking about your goals when interacting with us and the journeys you might take through our site to help you reach those goals. And we believe we've laid out the right information in the right order and made it friendly and engaging along the way. We also have a fresh new look for you that brings the site up to date with our branding, and we've refreshed the content and structure on it, tweaking our language a little and introducing bite-sized content sequenced in a way that we hope reflects your thought processes as you navigate through. And talking of navigation, we now also have a purpose-driven menu system that groups things together so that you can find everything you might need on any given topic all in one place. So we feel pretty confident that you'll find our new site much more easy to navigate. Similarly, the site is now also fully responsive and mobile friendly. And so for the first time, you can get what you need from us on any device, on a screen of any size. And we're meeting accessibility standards if that's important for you too. And so you might ask, how can I be so sure that we've achieved all of these things? Well, quite simply, for the first time, we've worked with you, our very own CMI community of learners and members on the research, design and testing. And we've really taken on board all of your feedback and applied it to get the site to where it is today. And so far, the feedback has been really positive, in fact, far exceeding our expectations. But this is by no means the end of our website story. No, it's only really just the beginning. And of course, as Anne said, this session isn't called You Decide We Delivered for Nothing. And so today we'd like to ask all of you watching to tell us where you think we should go next. And so if you can follow the link in the description below or head over to pollev.com/CMI events and tell us what you'd like to see next on our site, where we have a selection of features for you that we'd very much like you to consider and order them according to your preference. So if you'd like to see content that's personalized to you and relevant to your management journey, or perhaps you'd like to see self-assessment and diagnostic resources to help you measure progress against your journey and our standards, or perhaps you'd like to see the introduction of some self-service elements on there to help you manage your relationship with us, or even if you want to see some live chat because you'd prefer not to have to pick up the phone to speak to us and talk to us through the site instead, then please go to the link, tell us what you think, order those things in order of your preference, and click through to vote and let us know how you feel. And if you're watching this playback after the stream is finished and the polls closed, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments too. We'd be very interested to see them. So that's me. Thanks very, very much for listening. We really appreciate your help. Next, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Ian Doherty. He's the head of member engagement here at CMI, and he's going to talk to you about community.
Thank you very much, Robin, and good afternoon, everybody. As Robin said, I'm going to talk to you around community and particularly online community. Now, CMI has a membership base of around about 146,000 members, and that ranges from students all the way through to CEOs and board level executives. And what we've found is one of the main reasons that people join a professional body is for that sense of community, to build your professional network and to discuss topics that you care about and you're passionate about, which in this case is management. And up until this point in time, we facilitated this sense of community through our events programs, back before COVID, the face-to-face events where a lot of networking took place, and more recently through the digital platforms such as the session today that we're holding where you can chat online, and also through our mentoring program that we have. But we're now really looking to take the next step forward with a fully engaging online community platform. And when we talk about building an online community platform, there's some kind of key features which you see on these programs. Now at CMI, we pride ourselves on being a practical led organization where all the resources that we provide our members, you can take them away and apply them to your workplace on a daily basis. So how fantastic would it be if we had a question and answer forum? So if you were at work and you had a particular challenge or a question that you need some help with, you can post that question in the online community and your fellow members will rally around and support you to get you the support and answers that you need. We can also use online communities for ideation and opinion polls. So you can really help steer the direction in which we travel in. If we want a quick pulse point survey on, do you think we should go this way or this way? We can put those opinions out to you to help make those decisions. Looking also around more in-depth discussion forums around topical areas. So, for example, you may be really passionate about Brexit or COVID response or equality and diversity. And we can really start to generate some debate and discussion amongst our members on what's important to you and how we can help drive that forwards from CMI's perspective. How about an online file and media gallery where you can upload your own documents, you can upload your own videos and share them with other members of the community so that they can see what you're doing. A lot of our members feed back to us and say that they like to share back their stories and share their management journeys and experiences. So our blogging tool, where you can either write your own blog or collaborate with others to produce a blog that's developed by multiple people across the board. And finally, perhaps most importantly, is the ability to interact. So instant chat, presence, so other members can see when you're online, private and direct messaging are just some of the many features which kind of feature in online communities. Now, we've already started this with a small online community for our insights and research program, which is called Manager's Voice, which some of you may be a part of. And just on screen now, you can see a little bit of an example of how this works with a typical discussion forum where we've asked, we want to know what you would like to talk about. And we've got some responses that come in where members start to introduce themselves, start to network and start to really put some good opinions across for us. Now, as Robin had a question for you, funnily enough, I have a question for you too. So if you can go back onto your mobile devices or open up your browsers again with your polling software on there, and the link is in the chat. I'm just going to load up the poll now for you. And whilst you're ordering these in your order of preference, in terms of the features that you would find useful for an online community, I'm going to talk through them in a little bit more detail to give you a little bit of a premise of what may be involved. So we have our personalized profile. So the ability for you to create a profile image, a little bit of a bio about yourself and share your interests so that other members can see if you're their type of person. How about a searchable member directory where you can search every 146,000 members to look for people that have similar interests to you? How about networking? So this chat, this instant chat, these video calls that we can facilitate through the online platform, whether it's on a one-to-one basis or as part of a room. We also have our discussion forums and opinion polls, as I've mentioned. And finally, online communities is not just about individuals. It's about organizations too and corporates. So wouldn't it be fantastic if we could get the employers we work with, the training providers and the universities within the community as well, so you can connect with those individuals and companies as well. It's really great to see that networking, chat and videos at the top there, because that's my favorite too. So thank you very much. That's it on online communities. I'm now going to hand over to Daisy Hooper, who's our head of policy, and is going to talk to us a little bit more around CMI's thought leadership work. Thank you, Daisy.
Thanks, Ian. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. I am Daisy. I am head of policy at CMI. I'm going to talk to you about our thought leadership. We carry out at CMI regular research in collaboration with partners and other organizations to ensure that we're at the cutting edge of management and leadership development, and we use that insight to inform our products and services to better deliver for you, our members, and also to help us advocate effectively for greater investment in management and leadership which we think is really important. One of the big projects that we've been working on for over a year now is Management Transformed. We actually started it pre-COVID, and it was designed to answer a fundamental question, which is what are the skills that managers and leaders will need to survive and thrive in a world transformed by technology, new business models, and societal changes. As you are probably aware, through COVID, we're now living through much of that disruption that we initially sought to explore. COVID's been a massive workplace disruption for many of us. You can see from some of the stats there that there's been a huge transition from workplace working to remote working. If you're wondering why these figures don't add up to 100%, that is because some people were not working or didn't know, and we've excluded them. So we kind of pivoted our research to look at people's experience of managing and being managed through lockdown and as we emerged from lockdown, to look at the skills that would be required and whether they differ depending on where you're working. So this research is due to be available to you in middle of November. So I'm just going to cover a few highlights that have been coming out. It'd be really great to get your feedback as to whether these findings resonate with your own experience, or if there are things that we've missed. So just to highlight a couple of key themes that are coming through. So the importance of company culture is massive. So we can see from our research that in organizations where senior leaders do more to foster a strong organizational culture, that employees feel the culture has got better even during the pandemic. Employee engagement, senior leaders felt that staff on the whole were involved, but not all employees who responded to our surveys felt that they were engaged or informed. So there's clearly more for leaders and managers to do to engage their employees. Communication, perhaps not surprisingly, hugely important. Daily communication has actually taken a dip during COVID, but employees consistently say that transparent and honest communication from management is really important. Also bringing people together. 60% of those we surveyed who were working in virtual workplaces or fusion workplaces, so balancing time working remotely, maybe at home, and working on site, say they miss interaction with their work colleagues. So how do we make that interaction happen when we're not necessarily in the office anymore? And finally, supporting the well-being of your staff. So it's universally agreed that COVID-19 has impacted the emotional well-being of staff. So managers really need to think about how to best support staff in this slightly strange time that we're living and working through at the moment. As I mentioned, the research will be available in November, and we will be holding webinars for you to engage with this research, some practical sessions for you to exchange questions and share best practice through the communities, in particular that Ian already mentioned. And we'll also be publishing a range of case studies, including this one from Siemens, which is referenced on the slide there, about the challenges of constantly being on if you're working from home. And we look forward to sharing them with you and getting your feedback. So I have also got a poll, given that we've seen a lot of people saying that they were missing those interactions. I just need to skip to the next slide. So my poll is, what do you miss about the workplace when working remotely? Is it regular in-person communication with your manager? Is it collaborating in person with your work colleagues? Is it the opportunity to grow your professional network? Perhaps you feel like that's been affected when you've not been in your usual workplace setting. Is it perhaps those workplace perks like free fruit, tea and coffee? Or is it a better division between work and home life, perhaps? I can tell you what mine is, but I don't want to influence what you're going to vote for. If you need the link again, it should be in the chat, or it's pollev.com/CMI events. Ooh, big change. Interesting. The collaboration point is actually coming through very clearly in the research as well. So please do look out for it. We really look forward to sharing it with you. I am now going to hand over to my colleague Winston, who will give you an overview of our work with employers.
Thanks, Daisy, and good afternoon, everyone. A pleasure to be virtually meeting you all today. So my name is Winston. I head up our employee engagement at CMI. And I'm here today to provide you a brief overview of how is it that CMI supports employers. And through this forum, equally get your thoughts on how we can further improve. So as an overview and aligned to CMI's mission, all of our employee engagement is focused on helping organizations support the accidental manager community to become more conscious leaders. Now, as we heard from Daisy, the COVID pandemic, as we know, has brought about a lot of unprecedented change across organizations and in the way in which we work. We find that over the last 9 months, many managers actually tell us that they're actually juggling too many different balls at one time as they navigate both themselves and their teams through this new normal. At the same time, a recent CMI survey indicated that close to 35% of our members actually felt that this pandemic has exposed various skills gaps across their management community in their organizations, especially when it comes to the key management soft skills, including digital and communication skills. As such, I'm sure you would all agree that it's absolutely vital in the current climate that managers and leaders are not only being agile, but equally demonstrating those broader key management soft skills, which is around fostering open communication, supporting staff better, especially as they're managing more remotely these days, hand-holding colleagues through difficult periods. It's equally important that these managers and leaders are able to drive an environment or create a culture of continuous improvement and self-development, not just for themselves, but even for their teams. So that drives a culture of collaboration, which, as we know, the ripple effect being increased productivity and eventually growth for the organization. So you'll be pleased to hear that this is where CMI have been doing quite well, both during the pandemic and even before, as we strive to support organizations across a number of different areas as they work towards upskilling their staff. Whether if it is addressing individual skills gaps across their management community through our industry-leading management and leadership qualifications, or helping raise the profile of internal programs, development programs, and getting them aligned to CMI. So thereby not only raising its standard, but benchmarking it to a global standard set by CMI. And that creates a sense of excitement for the individuals who go through that program. Or perhaps providing access to timely information on the latest trends that managers have at their fingertips, to even going as far as helping organizations recognize some of their key talent through the prestigious Chartered Manager Award. But the theme over here is the same. The aim and our employee engagement is all focused on helping employers and their organizations be seen as a great place to work, so that they're not only able to attract the brightest of talent, but equally retain the best of their talent as well. Now, one of the most exciting features that we ventured into recently, which has borne from the back of a lot of employer demand, is around how do we support upskilling our colleagues, especially as most of them are based remotely, and how can we do that digitally? Now, you'll be pleased to hear that on the back of a lot of employer feedback, especially from the public and private sector, we have embarked on a new journey called as Bite Size. And before I hand you over to my colleague Ruth, who will give you an overview of what that looks like, I'm sure you would have sensed the theme now that I equally have a question for you. For those of you who have just joined us midway through this webinar, the poll or the link to the poll is towards the bottom of my slide. And I would suggest that you probably have it open in a new tab if you just joined, so that you don't miss out on the webinar. But my question to you is this, which will be on your screen any second now, which is, in the current climate, what are the key priorities your organization is looking to address when it comes to staff training and development? And so I have a few areas here, and you can start providing your feedback straight away. So is it around your managers and leaders being able to access timely content at their fingertips when it comes to getting an understanding of what the latest trends are? Or is it, as organizations continue to restart their training, is it around helping raise its profile by getting them rubber stamped or endorsed by CMI? Or is it around given that many managers and leaders have been firefighting to support their recognition and to keep them motivated, is it around their recognition, or is it around helping deliver of the digital solutions when it comes to training, or is it something else altogether? And that's and I can see that there's a very close fight for second and third, but the first is absolutely key, which is absolutely recognizing key talent. And I'm glad you see it that way. So rest assured, obviously, all our work is focused around getting managers and leaders empowered to become conscious leaders, and through the chartership process. I hope to have the opportunity in the near future to update you on how progress has been made. But for now, I'll pass you over to my colleague Ruth, who is our head of products, who will give you an overview of our exciting new venture, Bite-Size Modules. Over to you, Ruth.
Thank you, Winston. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. I am the last of the segments in today's webinar. I hope you've found it really useful, and thank you so much from all my colleagues for your amazing feedback. So I am head of customer and product propositions, and I'm absolutely delighted to introduce our new CMI Bite-Size programs, which are a series of practical, flexible online courses that cater to the growing demand of micro-learning, and that have been developed, as Winston mentioned, in consultation with our employer partners to address their skills gaps. So these programs are aligned to the CMI professional standards, and the topics reflect the key skills that employers are telling us they need to help upskill the workforce, and predominantly to help them manage in a digital age, which of course is now more relevant than ever before. They are designed for managers in work, but also for those who've perhaps been furloughed or made redundant and who are looking to gain additional skills to support them in the workplace. The Bite-Size programs are designed to be completely flexible, which means that participants are able to dip in and out as they choose. And while each program itself should only take about 2 to 3 hours to complete, learners actually have 3 months subscription to CMI once registered on a program. And that means they have access to all the other fantastic CMI online resources and digital events that are available to them. Then on completion of a Bite-Size program, individuals are awarded a certificate of achievement, and they then have, if they want, the option to top up to a level 5 qualification by undertaking an additional assessment. And this is where the flexibility really comes in. This gives them the opportunity to formalise their learning further if they so desire. On completion of programs, they're also eligible for Foundation Chartered Manager status, and this puts them on a pathway towards full Chartered Manager, which, as you know, is the highest status that can be achieved in the management and leadership profession. All the Bite-Size programs are delivered completely online through our digital platform, Management Direct, and they can be delivered as standalone programs or as part of a wider training program. And the content is very varied to meet different learning styles, so includes video, visual models, action checklists. But the main aim being that the programs are completely practical and that they balance the theory with real-world application to help managers put these new skills into practice straight away. They also include self-reflective activities and assessment, so learners can really identify how they're going to apply their learning in the workplace. And that evidence can then be shared with employers to demonstrate their employees' output and support ongoing professional development. So on the screen now, any minute now, you should see the topics that are currently in development. So managing change and equality, diversity and inclusion are now actually live. And the remaining programs are planned to launch before the end of the year. But we're now planning our development for the new Bite-Size programs for next year. And so this is where I would love to get your feedback, please, on the areas that you believe to be the next priority in terms of the skills that managers and leaders need. So your last poll of the day is coming up on screen. And what I'd really like your feedback on is what we should be developing next. So as per the other polls, please rank these topics in order of priority. Again, please use the link either in the chat to vote or go to pollev.com/CMI events. And if there are any topics that you think are important that are not listed here, then please do put them in the chat box, because we will make sure we gather all your comments together and review them at the end. So thank you, people are already voting, and the topics here that we've listed is a short list based on feedback and insights from employers and our member community. And you can see we've got communication skills, mental health and well-being, coaching and mentoring, talent management and personal development. But like I say, if there are any other topics that you would like to see us developing, please do put them in the chat box. This is great. Thank you. Your feedback is really, really valuable. So thank you so much for taking the time to vote on this. And it looks like mental health and well-being, as probably expected, ranks top, which is very much in line with our thinking. And it's clearly a priority, particularly at the moment, followed by communication skills, again, virtual communication and management. Thank you very much for your feedback. I'm now going to hand you back to Anne to perhaps answer some of your questions.
Thank you, Ruth. And thank you, everybody from Team CMI who showcased all of these wonderful innovations. And thank you to everybody who voted. Now, if you didn't get the opportunity to vote live, you will be able to vote when we post the video on YouTube. There will be a form in the chat that you can fill out so you can share your views and let us know what would be most helpful to you. But before we sign off for this week, I did want to give you an opportunity just to ask my many colleagues on this call any questions you might have about anything that you have seen here. And I do have a question from Alex, and he's saying, thank you, Alex, great session. Thanks, all. How can we find out more about CMI working with my company? Well, Winston, would you like to answer that for Alex?
No, absolutely. No, thank you, Alex. Great question. So, there's a number of areas in which we can support, and, whether that is kind of supporting your first line managers on their journey to become kind of middle and senior managers in the future, creating that pathway for them to have tools and resources to become that conscious leader and that chartered manager in the future. But I'd be more than happy to get in touch with you post this session to kind of discuss this further. I believe we would have your details, so do expect an email from me.
Brilliant. Thank you, Winston. Are there any other questions from anybody? No? Okay, well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for sharing your views. We will post this online, so if you have other friends in the CMI community that you think should let us know what they'd like, tell them to go to the YouTube video channel and fill in that form to let us know their thoughts. And if you'd like to join our community, please click the box in the chat. You'll find more information on that. And last but not least, this time next week, I will be back for the Better Managers Briefing with my guest, Salman Amin, an old friend of mine who is now the CEO of global company Platis, and we'll be talking about the ever-changing challenges of managing and leading a global business in these COVID times. So thank you for joining us, and see you next week. Bye, everybody, and thanks to the team.
Bye.